Hello everyone, welcome back. It's really great to be back. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that I've been avoiding talking about for so long, only because there's so many different theories to this, right? But let me break it down. So I was looking at a post, right, and a guy had proposed to his girlfriend, but he had the ring in his hand, and he just kind of like take the ring and everything, and she kept saying, no, you have to kneel down, and it was really funny. And then there was a girl in the comment section that said, oh, she's really found her soulmate. And that was a bit funny to me, and which is why I wanted to talk about it today, because like I said, it's a term we throw around a lot without actually really knowing the real meaning to it. Like, okay, so people just say my soulmates. When you feel like somebody is really close to you, everybody says, that person's my soulmate, that person's my soulmate. But I wanted to talk about what a soulmate really is. So what it is it's two people that have love for each other on a soul level. They get each other on a soul level. So these two people, their love transcends space and time. What that means is the person doesn't have to be next to you. You may not have seen this person in even 100 years, but it doesn't change the way you feel about them. Let me give you a good example, right? So there was David in the Bible, right? So David and Jonathan happens to be King Saul's the first king of Israel, King Saul's son. So David met Jonathan, and it was recorded that Jonathan's soul was knit with David's soul, and Jonathan loved David like his own soul. So imagine loving somebody like your own soul. That's like loving somebody as much as you love yourself. So that was how much they loved each other. They were true soulmates, right? So and then even after Jonathan passed away, David still sent for his son Mephibosheth, right? David still sent for the son and rewarded the son. So the son was eating at his table for the rest of his life, at David's table when David became king, right? So it didn't matter that Jonathan wasn't there. The love he had for him was transcended space and time. Does that make any sense? So so the way to really, so they got each other on a soul level. It was deeper than the surface. So the way to explain this is, and it's really boring, but I'm going to explain it anyway. So the human body is divided into three parts. It's divided into the body, the spirit, and the soul. Now the body, this flesh we have, is like a meat suit. It's a suit, but like made of flesh. It's like a jacket, right? And it's a house for your spirit. Does this make sense? So it's housing your spirit, right? Now what happens is when the person dies, the spirit goes away, right? And then if you look at that person, you may not even recognize them anymore after they're dead, because the spirit is no longer there. What is left is just the meat jacket, and that decays. Does that make any sense? So the body is mortal. Now the soul is the immaterial part of the body that is immortal. So the body is mortal, but the soul is immortal. The soul never dies, right? Now depending on how you choose to look at things, if you do believe in reincarnation, now reincarnation is not a term it's a term that is pretty much frowned upon in religion, right? Religion does not buy into the whole reincarnation thing. Now reincarnation is like a soul being born into another body. It's like a great grandfather that died many years ago is being reborn as a baby. Does that make any sense? Okay, so he's being reborn as a baby into another body. You know how they say, like, most of these little kids now, people say like the ancestors are returning. It's a saying that is really common now, like the ancestors that are returning because most of these little kids, they are too wise and too intelligent. Like you see a 5-year-old kid would say things that even adults don't know about. So people keep saying, oh, all these ancestors are returning or whatever it is. You understand? So that's the whole concept. So it is believed that most of the people we see in this lifetime that are true soulmates are people we have spent previous lifetimes with. So like I've always said, a soulmate doesn't have to be romantically linked. It could be your family, it could be a friend, it could be a spouse, it could be romantically linked. It doesn't really matter, but it's just two people that get each other on a soul level. Like David and Jonathan, there was nothing romantic about it, right? But they loved each other, like they loved each other dearly. It's also something I struggle with because I try to look at things from a religious standpoint, and like I said, in religion the concept of reincarnation is frowned upon. However, There are some children that are born predestined to die, right? They give birth to them maybe in like a week or two, then they die, right? So if a mother has given birth to that sort of child like once or twice, those children are called, in my local dialect, they are called like a biku. So what happens is that they give them a mark, so they will know. So okay, they give them a mark, then the same woman will give birth to another child, and the child will come back with that same mark. They just want to know if it's the same child. So if the child comes back with that same mark and everything, isn't that reincarnation? Does that make any sense? Isn't that reincarnation like a soul being born into another body? So I mean, I know that happens, but then again, the concept of reincarnation is frowned upon in religion. So I would really like somebody to break that down to me, because anyway, that's just by the way. But the easiest way to recognize a true soulmate is they just seem familiar. Have you ever been in a situation where you're talking to somebody, maybe this is somebody you just met or you just spent a short time around them, and you're like, have I met you before? Because there's just something so familiar about them, and you can't put a finger on it, and you're thinking, okay, maybe they're acting like your mother or your father or somebody that you know, or your auntie or something. You're like, you seem so, are you sure we've not met before? Are you sure? You just seem so familiar. It's not the face, it's not the attitude, it's the soul recognizing the soul, which is where that concept of reincarnation would make sense, right? So anyway, so that's on soulmates, and I'm not going too deep. I'm just trying to touch on the subject very quickly. So there's a concept actually deeper than the whole soulmate concept, and this is something called a twin flame. Now there are millions of theories everywhere about that whole twin flame concept, and like I said, it's something that is frowned upon in religion. So I once saw a girl call another girl her twin flame, right? And it was really funny because it is absolutely impossible. And like I said, there's like a million theories out. So what I'm talking about is solely based on my own research, right? So it's not possible for two people of the same sex to actually be twin flames. Unlike the soulmates, that it could be anybody. With twin flames, it's totally different. It has to be somebody of the opposite sex, and it's always romantically linked. Now, why I said it's impossible is this. Let me break it down to the whole theory of twin flames, right? So in the ancient days, back in the days, a Greek philosopher, Plato, Aristotle, I think, yeah, Plato, Aristotle, he believes that the ancient humans were hermaphrodites, right? What that is, I mean, normally a hermaphrodite is somebody that is born with two genitals, both the male and female genitals. Well, he believed that the ancient beings were born with two heads, 4 arms, 4 legs, 2 genitals, the male and female genitals, but with one soul, right? It's just one person. That person just has 2 heads, 4 hands, and everything. So these ancient beings, they were so powerful. Now I'm going back to the theory, the whole concept of the twin flame thing. So they were really powerful, and when I say powerful, I'm not talking about maybe physically powerful, it's more like a spiritual powerful thing. So anyway, so they were really powerful, and they were indestructible, so they became a threat. So the ancient Greek god Zeus, what happened was he wanted to reduce their power. So the only way to do it was to split them in half. So he split them in half, one with 1 head, 2 hands, 2 legs, right? So one had the male genital and the other one had the female genital, right? The only problem is that they had one soul. So it was like a soul. So as much as they divided them in half, their soul was split in half. The thing with twin flames is there's forever something missing in their lives. Like if you ever come across a twin flame, now like a twin flame is very rare. You can hardly ever find a twin, but if you do come across one, there's always something missing in their lives, right? Because they go round on earth with half a soul. Do you understand? Constantly, even at the back, without realizing it, looking for the other half of their soul. Does that make sense? So this should really be like a soulmate thing, but it's not. It's deeper. It's called a twin flame. So they go around on earth looking for the other half of their soul. So for the rest of their lives, if they don't come across their twin, there's always something missing because they are only carrying half a soul. So this other person, their other counterpart is somebody that is exactly like them. Don't forget, it's one person. They just have, do you understand, that has been split in two. So each of them has half a soul. So until they come together before, do you understand, their soul merges into one. Now here's the kicker. there were 72,000 of them, right? Split in half, it's 144,000. It is rumored, please don't quote me, it is rumored that this twin flames are the 144,000 that was mentioned in the book of Revelation in the Bible. So these are God's elect. They're like God's warriors. That's why they're so powerful. So when they were split in half, a curse was placed on them never to merge again. So what happens is that when you see two twin flames, everything in creation, people, places, and things will conspire together to keep them apart. Their friends, their family, they will never want them to come together. Even they won't know why. They won't realize that it's like an ancient curse that is still playing. Do you understand? That is still at play. So they won't know why. People they don't even know will be against the relationship. Their family, friends, parents, everybody they know will be against the relationship. Why? Because they are never supposed to merge. It's almost like when they come together, it is going to activate the apocalypse that was mentioned in Revelation. Like I said, it is rumored. I'm just touching on the subject, right? So it's almost like it's going to trigger that apocalypse. Do you understand? So everything in creation conspires together to keep them apart. Now, as much as is not, the concept is frowned upon, you know, in religion, you know, it's also a union that is very sacred. It's a union that is very, very divine. It's a union that is supposed to come together to glorify God. The reason why people are so against this, or will be so against it, even without their own knowledge, they just don't know why. They just don't want them together. They don't know why. They just feel that they won't go well together. But the two people know that this is my other half. This person is my other half, because they're exactly alike. They believe in the same things. Do you understand? They have one soul. The only problem is that that soul has been split in half. So they're both carrying half of each other's souls, right? So they know they're supposed to be together, but nobody would want them together, because but like I said, it's a concept, it's a union that is supposed to actually glorify God. It's supposed to be a very, very sacred union. I think the problem with that union is that because of the ancient curse, do you understand, that has been placed, it's still at play. Now imagine 144,000 twins in the population of the whole world. It is very, very difficult for even twins to find each other, except God says it's time. So these twins are supposed to be so powerful that if two people like with their prayers and everything can destroy 10,000, twins without breaking a sweat can destroy 100,000. I think that's why the dark side or the negative side will never want them to unite again, right? Does that make any sense? So I'm going to end it here, right? But I'm just going to say this. So soulmates can be anybody. It could be your family, it could be your work colleague, it could be somebody of the same sex, right? And it doesn't always have to be romantically linked. It's two people that get each other on a soul level, and their love and acceptance for each other transcends space and time. Those twin flames can only be somebody of the opposite sex and can only be romantically linked. So their mission on earth as twin flames only starts when they find each other. Namaste.